And again, welcome to Bit Depth. I'm Santiago Ramones. Across from me is...
Brant Rankin!
Also known as...
RazDeity.
So, to start with... Actually, I always kind of want to, say how I know the people. So, it's I think I've told the story of how Sable knows Megan. At least on Megan's podcast.
It's kind of complicated.
That's where it goes through. I've been dating Sable for 7 years, and so whenever Sable and Megan worked at Vintage Stock together, they became really good friends, and then we started going to conventions together, and then, through Megan's friends, Maddie, who is your sister.
Yes.
That is how we know each other.
Yes, exactly. And me, Megan, and Maddie all went to high school together.
Yeah. Were you in Megan's grade, or were you a grade below?
I was one grade below.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not
sure how that translates age-wise.
I don't think, age is all
numbers
wonky over here. So, but you were in marching band.
Yes, I was.
What'd you play?
I played the trombone, and then later, when they thought they were going to be cool, we all got the euphoniums.
Yeah.
And so that was exciting.
Yeah. And heavy.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy. There were a lot of people that struggled with it, which kind of made me question why we did it, but it was free for us, so I wasn't going to complain.
I mean, they look nicer, and...
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I don't know about sounding nicer, but, because it takes more air to make it sound nice, but...
It did take more air, but I always was under the impression that it was easier to make that sound more full.
Sure.
Whereas, with a trombone running in circles, you're just gonna all day.
Yeah.
So it did make a bit of a difference.
And then also, the proximity of having a slide or
more tight
not having a slide. Yeah. Anyways, my usual first question. What do you do?
Gosh, what don't I do better? No, by day, I work at Dell for, I guess it would be it's technically a blend of technical support and customer service, which is horrible, and I would never wish that on another human. But in my spare time, I kind of dabble in just about anything that sounds interesting, I guess. I mean, I've looked into music, kind of like you do. I've tried my hand at drawing, nowhere near compared to people we know, but I try. But one of the primary things I really enjoy is doing YouTube videos, gaming YouTube videos. And I've always wanted to expand upon that. Yeah. But work and certifications and stuff gets in the way a lot.
Yeah. But... plug, RazDeity on YouTube there. So, games.
Yeah.
How important have games been in your life?
At times, more important than they should be. I'm pretty sure every young gent of this era has gone through that stage where, Mom, go away! I just want to play the game! But, I mean... It's been a pretty important part. I've always really enjoyed it wasn't always so much the gameplay, so much as the stories and the music and the aesthetics, I guess.
Yeah.
So I always really liked having the stories and stuff. And I mean, there's a handful of them that is just oh, that's always going to be this thing.
Yeah.
Because I remember the time that I played the game and I was sick and it was raining and blah. Yeah. But yeah, they've always been a big chunk of my life, and I really like that, you can just sit in a chair and not really have to go spend, well, I mean, you have to spend money to get there.
Initially,
Yeah, initially, but upkeep wise, not
Yes,
so
yes.
much. And you can just sit there, and it's like this whole other world to explore from your living room, and you don't have to bother anybody. You don't have to. Oh, you guys want to go to the movies? No, oh, okay, no, all right. No, you can just go do it by yourself. I've always liked that.
Yeah.
It's always a nice fallback to have.
Sure. What is the first game you remember playing?
Oh, gosh. Man. The very first memories I have of video games, I would probably have to say Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo.
That's a great start.
I remember seeing it in my cousin's older brother, his bedroom. Like, he was playing it, and I was just, oh, what was it? Oh, what is that?
Yeah.
You know, like, that moment where, oh, I want some.
Yeah.
And, like, gosh, I was fanatical about it, but, like, because they were in Arkansas and we were in Oklahoma at the time, which had to be like 3 and 4, which is why it's just this vague off memory. But like at the time, nobody I knew in Oklahoma had video games.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something that I was just like all the time 24/7. But when it came up, I was like, whoa, what is this? But that's the one I remember first seeing. The one I remember first playing, however, was, I believe, Mario 64 when I actually got a Nintendo 64. Yeah. So Mario was the start.
Yeah.
As for many people.
That's awesome. Oh, at this point, what is your favorite game?
To be honest, I would have to say Final Fantasy VIII.
Nice.
It's not typically the popular one because it had quirks. A lot of them.
I've never played it, so I don't know.
Oh boy, people chew that on apart. But I don't know. It kind of hit me at that perfect ripe age where I was starting to like realize the other gender or whatever.
Sure.
So like the entire story is this intense action-y story, but throughout the whole thing it has this underlying love story, and that just hit me so hard, and I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be between that and Final Fantasy VII, which was the first game I ever beat.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Which, I mean, as far as beating games, like, I remember, like, whenever beating a game was a big deal.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Like, I don't know, people use it, whatever, I made a challenge out of it, but I'm still like, dude, I bought this game and beat it while working full-time. Look at me go. Yeah. You know, it's still a big deal to me. Like, I still hold things like that, like having beaten every single major numeric Final Fantasy.
Sure.
That is still one of my biggest accomplishments to me.
Yeah. And then, in your opinion, what is the best game?
The best game?
Yeah. Because there's a difference between your favorite game and what you think.
Well, yeah, sure. Is. I mean, I'll admit they had issues. To be honest, I think one of the absolute best games I've ever played had to have been, I think they made a PlayStation 4 port for it, but it was on the PlayStation 3 originally. It was called Flower. I think that was one of the best games I had ever played. Just because, like, I mean, nowadays you just get all these intense, like, super over-the-top games, and they're complex. They have all these features and add-ins and stuff. And then comes along just this simplistic thing. Yeah. And they focused in on just making it smooth and making it beautiful. And that was it. Yeah. That was the whole game. Just smooth and beautiful with this underlying, hey, nature is cool. You should take care of it. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, I still love that game.
Yeah. there's been a big surge in indie games and how they're perceived and how
Oh
like
yeah.
um so I mean, what do you think about indie games and how does that compare to like these big AAA experiences?
I mean, to me, really, you have to think about like where it started with indie games because
Mm.
I can not so well, but I can still remember a time like when they were just starting indie
Sure.
games, like because for the longest time it was, whoa, I want to make video games,
Hmm.
but then everyone was like, you can't. You either have to be with Nintendo or you can't.
Sure.
Like that was the idea. But then indie games started happening, and I mean, at first everyone was, oh, it's an indie game.
Hmm.
Let's not do that. But now, like, some of the absolute best games I know
Hmm.
are indie games
Yeah,
or
yeah.
these Kickstarter games.
Hmm.
I mean, they've come such a long way with the amount of people that are just like, hey, I have this idea and I want to do it. So they
Yeah.
just go out and do it.
Yeah.
That to me is amazing and
Hmm.
it's inspiring how many people in life just like they have this idea and they try.
Hmm.
Like I'm like, dude, go.
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah.
And that to me that says it all right there. I
Yeah.
mean, they're trying everything they can to make it work and it's made it come a long way.
Yeah. I mean, like you were saying, like Flower is by that game company
Right. Yeah.
uh and they've always been really small. I'm pretty sure they're in Santa Monica. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like a tiny studio that just like keeps cranking out like beautiful games.
Right. Yes.
So I mean, and a lot of people like agree that like so they also made Journey and
Yes.
like it's I saw the change with the perception of indie games around the time Journey became popular because
Yeah.
IGN gave Journey Game of the year that it came
I
out,
do remember that.
and
Yeah.
so like at first the idea was kind of like, oh, indie games are just like downloadable. I can just like throw $5 at it and kind of, oh, it's just like a little arcadey thing.
Right.
But then like, you know, games like Braid and
Mm-hmm.
Limbo and Fez um, really like made you think like, oh, this isn't just like a tiny downloadable thing. It's a whole experience that's
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful.
It was like those handful of games,
Mm.
and that like you had said, they made it game of the year, and it was pretty much that year where it was just, oh, so these are actual
Yeah.
games and not just some homebrew something.
Yeah.
Like it recreated the concept.
Yeah. Um, and then something else. What's what are the games that you have spent the most time playing?
So like one playthrough, multiple playthroughs. What are we talking
Oh,
here?
just like time sunk into this one game.
Okay, so I would definitely have to say that World of Warcraft was up there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like that's kind of like a, well, yeah. I mean, if you did this, you
Yes.
obviously spent time.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I think I spent a lot of time on like Final Fantasy 6 through 10.
Mm.
I mean,
Also,
there's,
because they're just long.
well, yeah, they're really long and there's a ton of crap to go find
Mm-hmm.
and do, but like, there have been times where I was just like, I want to go play it again.
Yeah.
And I'll just go beat it again. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that took a long time. But
Yeah.
I also, I've always been a bit of an oldie for RuneScape. So I've definitely
Nice.
put a lot of time into
Yeah.
that one.
Do you still have the RuneScape account?
Yes, I actually still play it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I know one other person that still plays RuneScape. I think he still plays RuneScape. Uh, um, going on to like YouTubing. Why do people watch other people play games?
I would honestly say it's because of like community and like the togetherness.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's one thing for me to sit here and play a game and go, "Oh gosh, this game was great," and that's it. Like this was great. I had this marvelous experience,
Yeah.
and yay! But like, if there's you're watching, say, Markiplier play a game, and there's 12 million other people watching him play this game with you, that's like 12 million people now that you've shared this experience with, and you can go, "Oh, dude, comment section, this was cool," and then people are like, "You're stupid, shut up," and it's like, I'm a part of something.
Marvelous.
It gives you that chance to like really kind of I have this pent up awesomeness I need to express with someone. Kind of like watching a TV show, when something intense happens on this week's episode, everybody and their mother is up on Facebook like, "Did you see what happened on Games of Thrones?" And it's the same concept, but for video games.
Continuing to not watch Game of Thrones.
I have never seen a single episode.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, no, I definitely see that. What has YouTube become over the years?
I mean, when it first started, it was just kind of like, well, when it first started, that was just like how-to instructions. But then, as people started to realize it existed, it just became what you would now call a meme center.
Sure.
Like, even today, you could bring up some of those things, and it's just like, memes. But there was like one point, and it was pretty much when Minecraft was like just starting, and they were like, "Well, let's adjust things." And for whatever reason, Minecraft was just all over that front page forever, and that's where Let's Plays came from. And now it's all this reactions, kind of TV show type things, talk shows, because it's become more of instead of just a random funnies or random lulls, it's become more of like a television network for the general populace.
And it's free.
Yeah.
Where do you think you sit in that giant span of like Let's Plays and entertainment and television and all of that?
Oh gosh, I am definitely just a face in the crowd. Like, you could, standing from the front of the crowd, peek over the shoulders of the main YouTubers, pull out a microscope, put binoculars on the end of that, and squint really hard, and you might see the people like 100 people in front of me. Sure. Like, I'm down at the bottom. No doubts about it.
Yeah. Where would you like to be?
I mean, I'd be a liar if I said I wouldn't like to, hit 1 million subscribers and be able to live off of the money incoming from YouTube. Yeah, of course. That would be awesome. You wouldn't have to go to a 9-to-5 job ever again. You could just play games, record it.
That would be even more, like, that would be like a 9-to-9 job, and then you'd have to, like...
Well, yeah. That would definitely be more of your time every single day, all day. But, I mean, it would be something that I'm passionate about, I guess.
Yeah.
So it'd be a lot better. It would be something more enjoyable. But, I mean, yes, obviously that, I guess you could say, is the quote-unquote end goal.
Sure.
But, I mean, at this point, I think it's more of just doing it for the enjoyment.
Yeah.
As well as the possibility of entertaining someone.
Sure.
Like, to me, at this point, in coming back to this, because I did take over a year's break there. And here lately, I've been just kind of stockpiling episodes
Sure.
so that I have a good base in case something happens again, and I can keep going through it.
Yeah.
But at this point, to me, I would say it's a win if I can just, make people laugh. If
Sure.
someone comes across the video and they're like, hey, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a win. I would call that a win.
Yeah. I will hold that thought, but I will bridge over here for a sec. So you do code and computer junk and stuff. I feel like there's this perception of just this nerdy whiz kid that just sits at his computer and types everything and just yeah. What is it actually like? What is computer programming and code and IT and all that mess?
I mean, it's really not the whole nerdy thing. To be perfectly honest, I don't know a single career field that actually is that.
Sure.
But I mean, I guess science and computers is as close as you're gonna get. No, it's really just nothing but problem solving. Mm-hmm. Once you start heading towards the more science fields, that's pretty much the more and more it becomes.
Yeah.
Let's say for instance, in my current job, I get a customer that comes in and they're like, hey, here's the problem I'm having. So we start out okay, so here's the problem. Here are the symptoms. These symptoms are relevant to these. Yeah. Let's test these things. Here's the one thing we've got. So it's a lot of if this, then this is really the language of the computer world.
Yeah.
Even in programming, it's mostly just if this, then this, and something goes wrong. So then you just got to go back, check what you wrote in, and it's I said
forgot
this
a
wrong.
Semicolon.
Yeah, I forgot this thing somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is it fun though?
I mean, the technical side is. I kind of enjoy that part to it because I mean there's a sense of satisfaction, I guess, and a sense of, to a lesser degree, fulfillment from being able to go, yeah, I solved that problem. That's something I fixed.
Sure.
That is a good feeling.
Yeah.
I just think that a lot of the times in today's careers that gets undermined by customer service type things.
Yeah.
Which, as I mentioned before, I would not wish on another living soul.
Yeah. But I mean, you still get to... Do you still get to make people laugh?
At work?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Not so much.
Yeah.
Really just try to keep it professional.
Sure.
And focused on
Whatever
the job.
That means.
Yeah.
And then so going back to what has been the importance of humor in your life?
To me, personally, I think humor has to be one of the absolute most important things. I personally I would almost go as far as saying you could lead your life without ever finding love, but as long as you had a good source and sense of humor, you would still do pretty okay and be pretty happy. I really believe you could pull it off. I mean, I cannot fathom people genuinely laughing, and having a bad day or being mad or hating something or someone.
Yeah.
They just do not mix. Sure. It's a one or the other. So to me, being able to make people laugh in any way has always been more important than most of everything else
Yeah.
within reason, of course.
Sure.
So yeah, it's always been like a really like firsthand go-to thing.
Yeah.
Just go out of my way to make people laugh,
Yeah.
even at the risk of my own image.
But I mean, like, so who do you look up to in that sense of like, I want to be funny and I want to be more like blank, I guess.
In terms of like main, popular professional kind of
No, just
comedian,
anything.
any okay, anything. Um to be perfectly honest, I've always like really admired the Game Grumps,
Mhm.
Aaron Hansen and Daniel Avedon. Um, like I really think that they're funny.
Mhm.
I'm sure they have their dull moments where it's just like, yeah, okay, but they also have moments where it's like, oh my gosh, gut burster joke.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's just kind of hit and miss no matter where you look in
Mhm.
when it comes to more comedy type themes, I
Yeah.
guess. But I don't know. They've always been kind of that over the top, goofy, but still pretty laid back
Mhm.
and really nice kind of people.
Yeah.
Which is that's like, oh, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be.
um there is something sort of different in the sense that like whenever they do stuff, and I don't watch or listen to Game Grumps very much at all, but that they do stuff like together as opposed to someone like Markiplier who does all of his Let's Plays himself. So what sort of makes it still interesting and still funny in a way to do stuff by yourself as opposed to with someone else?
So by yourself, I mean, obviously it's going to be harder
Yeah.
because like just having someone to bounce thoughts off of, you could
Mm-hmm.
just, oh, better look at his face. He's not quite smiling. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think this joke is working.
Sure.
Like that's an obvious key in there.
Yeah.
But when you're by yourself, you don't have that. You really only have yourself to work with.
Sure.
So it becomes a lot more iffy
Mm.
because immediately you have to, if you don't already know, you have to learn how to objectively look at yourself, which I feel that is like one of the big things that separates, oh, this guy could make it on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
from what are you doing
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Like, it's a big thing. And you can tell when you look at the different kinds of humor,
Mm-hmm.
like, you can see someone who's, like, genuinely trying and,
Yeah.
like, paying attention for a chance to make a joke about
Mm-hmm.
something someone says or the way they look or make a
Yeah.
funny voice. And someone who's just being, like, completely over the top,
Yeah.
like a Fred video or something.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
Man, it's been like Fred. I haven't heard that name in years.
yeah, right? Yeah, it's been a long time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That was the first thing that came to mind for that
Yeah.
really over the top thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, those are the two like major starting points that I've seen in
Mm-hmm.
my life. Which
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more, but whatever.
Yeah.
But like, when you're by yourself, I don't know. Like, it typically it's more of like running gags.
Mm-hmm.
Another good one is references.
Yeah.
Um, if you can do voice impressions,
Yeah.
that's definitely a plus. But wittiness and cleverness
Mm.
are going to be like your sword and shield.
Yeah. um, let's make just a gigantic left turn.
Sure.
What is the role of spirituality or religion in your life?
Trying to think of a word. I guess the only thing I can come up with is centerfold. I don't know if that's a good word.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, it's like the way I'm picturing it in my head. It's like if you had a doll that was just kind of falling apart at the seams, but then there's just that one golden thread holding it together. That's the golden thread would be the spirituality.
Sure.
Like it's the only thing keeping it together.
Well, what is what is that which keeps you together, like, specifically? Some people have, like, oh, I just feel connected with the universe, man. Or some people have, like, well, I, pray every, like, 10 minutes or something. Well, what is that for you? How do you enact spirituality in your life?
Prayer is a big part of it. I mean, I've always... It's odd because, like, it's so easy to bash yourself when it comes to religion, of any religion.
Sure.
Like, because, the entire idea of religion is there's this thing bigger than us, and we're lower than that, and worship the thing. But you still have to be this human and exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's so easy to beat yourself up about that because it's like, I can't do two existences.
Sure.
But prayer is still a big part of it. Definitely, for me personally, well, I guess not personally, a lot of people, but for me, music is a big part of it. To me, music can be the difference between wanting to scream in someone's face and just going, it'll be fine. Yeah. Like, it's the complete difference there. But I don't know. I guess I would say, like, feeling one with the universe has a role to play. Even though, like, I do single in on Christianity, I still feel like that openness and realizing, like, trying to realize everything that's around you. I feel like that's important to keep a good perspective.
Sure.
So easily people are like, oh, this is my life, me. But, like, when you stop and just think, wow, there's, like, billions of people all around. They all have lives.
Yeah.
Like, it puts things in perspective for me a lot.
Yeah. Has your Christianity provided a good community for you?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Like, the family as a whole has really gone to the same church since I was probably like 5 or 6. But that church in particular doesn't really have a group for our age group.
Yeah.
Like, they have everything up until about 19 or 20, then people disappear for college or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they start showing up again at 30 or 40, married with kids. And it's like, I can't really get along with either of you guys. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a big kind of a turnaway because I really do like the church and really enjoy the pastor.
Yeah.
But there's just not that group there. And they've tried multiple times, but it just never really clicked. So it's like, I don't want to start over.
Yeah.
But another side to that is there aren't a whole lot of, like, Christian groups that are really big on video games or the YouTube scene or, anime or things like that typically leans towards a non-Christian consensus. And so it's like, well, I can get along with these people and stuff. It's hard to talk about the religion.
Sure. No, I think that's very important that there is this sort of, like, trend between if you like video games or anime or whatever, like, then you don't like these other things. And
Right.
so like to you, like, you know, what is the distinction? How can you be both a Christian and play, you know, violent video games from the devil or
Yeah.
whatever?
Outlast 2.
Yeah. What is the distinction for you?
For me, it was always going with the concept of it's just a story.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I I don't want it to sound like technicalities, like, well, you didn't say this,
Sure.
but I mean, like, I've yet to find anywhere in any religion where they're like, don't learn stories.
Sure.
You don't express life. Don't
Sure.
learn about the world.
Mhm.
Like, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that I haven't, but that's kind of how I've rolled with it. Because there are, you know, Christians who are, ooh, that Harry Potter, you shouldn't watch that. That's a horrible thing. But to me, it's like, well, I'm not gonna go home and, you know, try to practice magic or anything. I know that's not okay.
Sure.
But this is a story. This is made to entertain me.
Yeah.
I would like to be entertained.
Yeah.
So, you know, you watch the movie and you go, that was a pretty good movie, and then move on.
Yeah, yeah. So like the media itself like doesn't go much farther than being just like, hey, this is a thing that's contained there, and it doesn't, like, I might change how you behave, but like it in a way, like, so a lot of people think that video games make people violent. But in another sense, it seems to make people less violent.
Right.
In that you're able to express these ideas or these feelings in sort of a safe environment.
Right, yeah. I would say it depends on, well, obviously it depends on what game you're playing.
Sure.
I mean, I don't think anyone's really gotten too violent off of playing like Yoshi's Island or something. Oh, I can't jump over the pit. Gonna go kill my neighbor's dog. I don't think
Start throwing eggs at people.
You're right. No, but like, I can see that argument holding, you know, some form of relevance when it comes to games like say Call of Duty, where the entire like focus of the game is just kill, kill, kill.
Yeah.
As quick as you can, get in, get out, kill, kill more, kill again. Like, I mean, and this is just personal experience, but when you go play those games, you know, people tend to be more aggressive.
Yeah, yeah.
And I could believe that partially it is from investing in that ultra violence.
Yeah.
But a good vast majority of it is just the competitive nature of people. Like games like that, or maybe League of Legends or stuff like that, it just takes that competitive nature and just like amplifies it so much that you can hardly see anymore.
Yeah. Do you have like a community of friends in your gaming circles or whatever?
I used to. I used to do that whole, oh yeah, these are my WoW people and these are these people. I used to do that. As I've gotten older, I've kind of started to realize that those strictly online circles tend to get like really melodramatic really quick.
Yeah.
Like, oh, did you hear what Tombo said about Kelly? And it's like, oh, what? I don't get the point. We're here to enjoy each other's company and play this game. Like, I don't know. I didn't ever see the point in that. So as I've gotten older, I've kind of pulled away from that. There are still a few people from the various groups. Like, we all know each other, and we still talk and we still play games together at times, but nothing like we used to.
Yeah. So how do you sort of like connect in a way your hobbies and your interests to your religion and spirituality? I acknowledge that these are hard questions, and
yeah, I had to kind of stop and think there. I mean, one of the ways that I've always found to connect World of Warcraft and RuneScape,
Mm.
because I mean, like those games, you could be 1000% oblivious to any relevancy of a storyline whatsoever
Mm-hmm.
and still, quote unquote, beat this game.
Sure.
Like, you could never experience a storyline. So, I mean, if you are going that road, which typically people do, there's a lot of time that it's just a giant grinding stone. And, you know, for me, when I was doing that side of it, where it is just this grinding stone and I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
In those times, you know, I would pull up a sermon and listen to the sermon while I'm doing this remedial task and just focus on the sermon.
Sure.
Or maybe I would take that time to listen to religious music and sing along, you know, pray, something of that nature. Use basically, like, while I'm still enjoying this game, also use the time to benefit. Because, I mean, otherwise, you know, if you're focusing in too much on this game or this movie, this TV show, you're pulling away time from the religion, and that's most oftenly viewed as a bad thing.
Sure.
So, I mean, to me, I think the big connecting point was finding ways to do both at once.
Yeah.
I guess. Because they don't really mix. Like, a lot of things just don't mix with religion ever. Ever. Hashtag low-key stab at everyone. Like, I don't know. They just don't mix well. But I think on a personal level, if you can find balance between the two, that's about all you could ask for, really.
How has your spirituality, your religion, affected how you treat others around you?
Oh gosh. Man, it changes a lot. I mean, my dad has, I guess, had nowhere near as bad as he used to be, and that's awesome. But he has some anger issues that he deals with. As far as I know, his dad had it as well, and as far as I know, his dad had it as well.
Sure.
And being next in line, admittedly, I do have it. I mean, there are times where I'm just going about my day, and then something will happen, and like, I can just, in my head, it's like, why am I mad?
Yeah.
You know, like, it goes that quick. You'll be, whoa, what's going on here? But I mean, if it wasn't for religion, you know, it would be oh, I should do something about that. But with religion, it's like well, stop. Why are you mad? Like, why does this make you angry? How do you think they feel about that? And I'm like, yeah, okay. But, I mean, another side to that is, like, one of the biggest themes in Christianity is, hey, God will take care of it. And that right there is such a game changer day to day, because it's like, problem, but it's okay, because stop, pray about it, give it over, and move on as best as you can. I mean, obviously, you're still going to be a little bit rustled by it, because you're only human, but it definitely makes a huge and vast difference.
Sure. What is the most spiritual experience you've had?
The most spiritual. So this last year, 2016, kind of starting with towards the end of the summer. Excuse me. It was about the time, actually, now that I think about the time that we started practicing for our skit, I took advantage of the situation and started working out on my own. And one of the bigger parts to that, because I've always been horrible at running, like god awful, like jogging for me was sprinting for everybody else. Like it was just awful. So a big part of that was, well, if I can't run 1 mile, I'm going to make myself walk 3.
Sure.
You know, so that was how I did it. And having ADHD, it's hard to keep focused on any one given thing for any amount of time. So 3 miles taking an entire hour of time to walk out, you know, I had to find something to do while I was doing it.
Yeah.
So what I would do is while I was walking, I used that time specifically to focus on prayer. And I would listen to the music while I did it, and I would specifically only listen to religious music. And I don't know if it was specifically just, you know, how much more time I was investing into it or whatever, but that kind of 4 or 5 month window there where I was doing that every single day, day in and day out, that was probably the best religious experience I've ever had.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I do see a difference. And like, no offense, but I also have to be honest. Last year at TNT, you were pretty insufferable.
Yeah. No, I can look back now and I was like, oh man. Like when we were getting ready for this year, I was like, okay, we're going to do this and this. I need to do this. I need to get these things ready. I have this going on and stuff. And then like, there was just one moment when I was packing and I stopped and I was like, oh, I was such a dick. Like I just stopped. I was like, dang it, I feel like crap, man. Like,
but honestly, like you, and this isn't just for me, like I think everyone else noticed it too, that like rather than being like difficult to work with, you were cooperative and helpful and like happy and like helped. And I think we all like saw that difference. We really appreciated your involvement.
yeah, no, I'm honestly just really thankful that, you know, everyone for more or less put up with me while I was kind of growing as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a slow progress.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it's still going on. But I'm just glad that I have a lot of people and a lot of support.
Yeah.
Sees me through.
Do you still like do that sort of prayer thing whenever you exercise, or has that like work been?
I mean, it's definitely a lot different now. I used to do it at like, I would do it basically right before lunch. I found that kind of like still morning but late morning time frame was like my favorite time of day.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, that's new and something to know. But I mean, obviously I can't do that now. I'm sitting at work at that time.
Yeah.
But I do still, you know, I go for the walk after work when I get home. Do the workout real quick, take a shower, and then whatever I wanted to do that evening if I have nothing else that I need to do.
Sure.
But yeah, I do still try to. It doesn't always get done, but I do my best.
And then, so like, how, I guess, accepting are you of others' spirituality or religion, especially since like Christianity does have this like stigma lately of like intolerance, you know?
Yeah, it's really kind of sad and depressing to have to hear that. I mean, for me personally, like, I don't mind, you know? Like, obviously there's the whole, hey, you don't judge other people.
Sure.
It's like, that's the key point.
Yeah.
There's the bullet point. Now let's have the other parts. But like, yeah, that's the primary point to be made. Don't judge anyone else.
Yeah.
If you do, you're judging yourself. More or less, that's what it says somewhere in there. Could not give you direct lines. But I do my best not to. But on a personal level, I mean, yes, it would be great if we were all Christians and saved and yay. But to me, personally, I'm kind of glad that there's differences. I mean, if everyone's bringing twos and aces to the table, your card game's only going to go so far.
Sure.
But if you have the whole deck, you can play a full game.
Sure.
Like, I'm not saying, oh yeah, Satanists have their place. You gotta have killers. No, but like, for instance, I've always thought that like Hinduism, I always thought it was pretty interesting. Like the concepts and the ideas.
Yeah.
I find them interesting. If I had the time and the money, I would go spend time, in the very least, learning of the religion just to see. Yeah. Not that I would convert or anything, but I think it would be cool to learn and see the culture. Like, I think that is a very important thing to have in life, because there are so many different people, and if we do spend all of our time just sitting here, oh, you don't like God, well, that's you're just closing your own horizons. Yeah. To me, that's honestly wasting your life, because I mean, there's so many things that I would have never learned or heard or experienced if I'd been so close-minded. Yeah. So I think having that open-mindedness and just that respect that they're another person with an entirely different life and belief system, just having that, basic human functionality. Yeah. I think that's really important to have.
Yeah. Does your spirituality affect the content that you create?
Yeah, it does. I do try my best to not curse. I mean, even in the YouTube videos, I try my best to not curse. And that's like a drop in an ocean of everybody else screaming profanity. Sure. Which, I mean, it makes it hard because, like, playing a video game by yourself, you're just quietly sitting there playing a game. Yeah. No one inherently is just super loud normally. But, like, for YouTube, you're basically, like, training yourself to express your emotion vocally. Yeah. So to be able to do that, but still hold it back enough to not curse, oh gosh, it's difficult. Yeah. But I do try, at the very least.
Yeah. Last question. What advice do you have for people?
In general?
Yeah.
Advice in general. Advice in general, I would say don't live inside of your mind. That's been one of the biggest struggles of like my entire life, because I've always been a big thinker, but the difficulty for me was ever doing anything about the thought. Yeah. I mean, before I actually had a husky, I had wanted a husky for like the better part of 8 years. But I didn't tell anybody or even verbalize it until like a year or two ago. Sure. Like, don't live inside of your mind, because that's just putting yourself in like a cage. I mean, yes, even for me, like the biggest part of why not is it's terrifying and people are scary, but like I mean, there's just so much you're missing out on if you
Mm-hmm.
just stay inside your head.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to actually try.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it can be dangerous. That you know, whenever people do, not reach out or like
Yes. Oh
vocalize to
yeah.
anyone, you start having problems. Your mental health starts suffering,
Yeah.
and having like known both like celebrities that have committed suicide and like knowing about uh I haven't had a friend commit suicide, but knowing friends of friends that have, it's very important to be able to reach out and have someone to go to whenever you're feeling so down.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. I completely agree. I have had phases
Mm.
or times in life where I have been suicidal.
Mm.
And I mean, there were a handful of occasions where I seriously contemplated doing something about it.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, definitely that is probably one of the bigger things to
Mm.
not live inside of your mind
Yeah.
about. Um, I mean, for me personally, if I go, say, 2 or 3 days
Mm.
staying inside of me and
Mm.
not like reaching out to anybody for anything, um, I can see a world of difference just in how depressed I am.
Mm.
Like, I personally don't think that I have any disorders, but I mean, being in that kind of a cage,
Mm.
even inside of yourself, like not even physically, but inside of yourself, is such a crippling thing.
Mm.
Like, no, I would not suggest it for anyone. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, even if it's just random texts of nonsense to somebody once a day, I would definitely say go for it and get out of the cage at least a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Brant, thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah, no problem.
Um, I greatly appreciate that you took time out of your evening to come over here and have me ask you very difficult questions. Where can we find you and your things?
You can always find me on Facebook. There is a Facebook page for the YouTube channel,
Mm.
RazDeity Gaming. You can always find on YouTube, I would
Mm.
hope, since it is a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Twitter at RazDeity, or just Facebooking me by Brant Rankin
Sure.
if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been something that you've like? What's the most recent thing that you put up there so that people can enjoy?
Oh gosh. The last thing I had done, I think I got like halfway through Undertale. I
Nice.
played some Donkey Kong Country. There was some Yoshi's Island going
Cool.
on. Did Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah, I'm
There
playing
was,
that right now.
yeah, there was quite a few things. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Cool. So yeah, you can find and enjoy and subscribe and let him know that you like his things or let him know what you'd like him to play or something. I don't know. And then, but again, thank you. I'm Santiago Ramones. You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. Um, I make music. I have this podcast, obviously. I'm going to release an EP sometime soon that I've been saying that for the past like 5 weeks or whatever, but I'm trying to get like album artwork for it, so that's why I haven't released it. I might release a single soon at least. But yeah, you can find that stuff. There is stuff changing and percolating, and so you might see some visual changes in my website sometime soon alongside my EP release. But anyways, I end all my podcasts with my 3 things which shape and structure my life, which are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong.